welcome to the Deuce Podcast. I'm Brad.
And I'm Jeremy.
Jeremy, we're doing episode 146
Oh.
of the Deuce Podcast. It is April, and I decided that we should do April is the cruelest month.
Oh, it's been a while.
So it's been a while since we've done this. Basically, what we do for all of April is review some of the worst sequels of all time. We torture ourselves.
Yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
USA Today called this week's movie number 17 out of 50 worst sequels of all time.
Oof.
Yes. Yes. So we are excited to bring you Paul Blart Mall Cop 2. Can you believe it?
I can't.
You can't believe it.
I was trying to think if it was Paul Blart 2 Mall Cop.
No, it's Paul Blart
Mall Cop 2.
Mall Cop 2, which is really dumb. It should just be Paul Blart 2.
Yeah.
Mall Cop.
Yeah, like, I guess...
Right?
Couldn't you have just called it Paul Blart with, like, another... Not Paul Blart Mall Cop,
Yep.
but Paul Blart.
Yes. Nominated for Teen Choice Award for Comedy, an actor and actress. Supporting or actress, yes. Also nominated for Golden Raspberries the same year for Worst Picture, Worst Actor, Worst Director, Worst Screenplay, Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel, and Worst Screen Combo for Kevin James and his Segway.
Poor segue.
We bring you Paul Blart Mall Cop 2.
Oof. We sure do.
Like we said, this does star Kevin James again in the title role of Paul Blart. I just want to see how many times I could say Paul Blart.
I'm sure
which is a lot. Did you know a little bit of information about this movie, Jeremy? That this movie is one big, gigantic ad for Wynn Casinos back in the day. For Steve Wynn's Casino.
This is just a big ad for it?
Pretty much. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Yeah, it's in 2014, the Nevada Film Office announced that Sony Pictures had been awarded the first candidate of
Eligibility?
Sure, you said it and I didn't. For tax credit for the first time to film, and they filmed in the Wynn casinos. Steve Wynn, who later would become the Republican National whatever committee guy, who got banned because of sexual misconduct.
Oh, surprise!
Woohoo! This is a Happy Madison production. Do you have any other information about this movie?
I know that it was originally supposed to be a lot darker.
It seems like it was supposed to be darker.
Well, so here are some things I had read about it.
It was supposed to be, Kevin James wanted to be in the Mall of America to begin with. Okay. In 2012. Which
would almost have made more sense.
Well, anything would have made more sense than this movie.
So here was the original thing. There was a producer who said that there was a character that was originally written into it called the Shadow Man. It was going to be a godlike being who put Paul Blart through his trials.
What?
He was going to basically make him do certain things. He was going to put him through these trials. After a great amount of discussion, it was decided to remove the character, seeing that the studio wanted to keep the film grounded in reality. So they removed the
grounded in reality.
Well, before there were supernatural characters.
Sure.
And the whole point was that originally, in an earlier cut of the movie, it was made explicit that Paul Blart was an indestructible man tormented by his inability to die.
What?
As he lost everything he ever cared about.
Now, this movie does start out really weird.
Like, what? You were going to make him like... you were going to make him a guy cursed by the gods not to die.
That's crazy.
Isn't it weird? Like, what were you trying for?
Can I tell you the tagline to this movie?
Oh, please do.
Vegas has a new high roller. Yeah, because I guess because the Segway thing,
Yeah.
which he's not really on it that much
No.
in this movie. So I'm like, whatever. So I'm like, why? Like, and every poster for this had the Segway.
Yep.
Every trailer
yep.
was it's always Segway heavy with his stuff.
Yes.
And it's just kind of like, I don't know. This movie, the original one, came out in 2010, 2009?
Yeah, something like that.
This movie feels like it was 6 years. Well, obviously, I don't think we should have made a sequel to Paul Blart.
Yeah, we could have left it.
We could have left it alone, right?
Yeah.
But we are a podcast about sequels, so we are going to talk about it. And we are going to talk about what maybe we could have done differently or what worked. The latter is going to be a little bit short on that list, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I feel you.
But I just feel like this was almost, if you are going to do it, 5-6 years too late. Like these are movies that work in the early aughts.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree.
It's also kind of a kids movie.
Well, I
not
felt
kids
like,
movie, but kind of like
yeah,
the humor is more.
it's more, I think,
juvenile.
age universal than
Yeah.
No, I think the problem that I saw with it was like,
It was made.
yeah, some of the humor that Kevin James had, like in the first one, with his like little asides or his whole. We've all seen the trailer thing where he goes to slide behind the sign, doesn't make it, and so he like scooches more and more. It was like they took those things that people laughed at, and then like made hyperactive versions of those. Like basically, it was like they turned up, they cranked it up on those. So like he gets slapped, and then he like keeps making comments about it, and like whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, just stop! Like, just. You can be funny with a look, an expression, whatever, but you don't need to keep saying things. Like,
correct.
If there's no point to what you're saying, don't say it. Like, I got really tired of hearing him like.
Here's the part. Here's what this movie does terrible. Every scene of this movie takes way too long, right? Mm-hmm. It's the jokes. The reason why the jokes don't work is because every scene is too long.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Every time he does a joke or a pratfall or whatever physical comedy, it's not that it's hyperactive. I think it just goes on too long.
Right.
Right? And to the point where I'm like, okay, got it, got the joke.
Yeah.
And it wasn't funny to start with. So why are we wasting 5 more minutes?
Well, and that,
do you know what I mean?
That's the thing. I think Kevin James can be funny, and I think he can do things like, I think about, I did enjoy him in the movie Hitch. Mm-hmm. But I also think the way he did it, he still has the same comedy that I think worked in Paul Blart Mall Cop, the original one. But it's almost like he just ramped it up for this one. Like, I think when Kevin James does something, he uses expressions, maybe a little bit or a little bit of commentary and stuff like that. He's fine. Too much in this one.
Right. Correct. You know, I just think it's I don't know. And it's not like this movie starts very weird, right?
Yeah.
For me. To where it's like tragic stuff happens to this guy.
Can I give a synopsis real quick?
You can.
Okay. So let me just give you an overall synopsis, and then we'll talk about how they get there.
Why don't you stop me from talking?
Well, I will then.
Jeez.
Well, I will. Here I go.
I really, sometimes when we're doing this podcast, I feel like... Nah, go ahead.
Okay. So...
I'm just saying.
What? Okay. 6 years after the heroic Black Friday rescue at New Jersey's West Orange Pavilion Mall, Paul Blart finds himself in a dazzling Las Vegas with his daughter Maya to attend the Security Officers Training Association convention. However, instead of resting and having fun, The overprotective father unearths a well-planned conspiracy as the suave art collector and steely criminal Vincent Sofel and his skilled gang of robbers intend to steal a rare art collection. Now it's up to the selfless protector, Paul, and his equally experienced team of security guards to save the day. Will the mall cop carry through the most difficult mission of his entire career? But I want to read a different synopsis to you. That I don't know. I'm like, what? I just want to read the start of it to you. Paul Blart dies and is given another chance at life. That's how this other one starts.
What?
What movie did you watch?
What movie did they...
Paul Blart didn't die.
Is there like a theory about Paul Blart
I don't know.
not being alive that I don't know about?
Yeah, that's why I'm like...
I don't want to rewatch it to figure out this theory, but go ahead. So
the movie starts out with his wife, Jayma Mays, who played his wife in the first one.
Right.
She couldn't... She had a conflict schedule with
Glee. Yeah, and Dark Matters.
But you didn't... She was not in Dark Matters.
Yeah, she was.
No, she wasn't.
Yeah, she was.
But you didn't
I will
need
fight
to...
you.
She was not in Dark Matters.
She was in Dark Matters, but that's okay.
She wasn't.
Our audience knows better.
No, they don't.
Remember when we saw that and I said, oh, look, it's Jayma Mays.
Yeah, they do know better. They know she's not in Dark Matters. She's not in the movie. She's not in the TV show Dark Matters.
It was like a reenactment thing, and there she was. I was like, wow, Jayma Mays.
It was some other bug-eyed redhead.
Bug-eyed redhead.
Anyway, so she couldn't join back up with it, and I think this is part of what irritates me.
I think this is where it really, like, what's the point? Then?
I don't find the humor in, like,
yeah.
So you then like make the worst things happen
to
I'm
Paul.
like, okay, I get that. I'm surprised he didn't get rid of her and replace her with Leah Remini, since that seems to be his MO. Show after
Kevin
show.
Can't wait.
Yeah, Kevin can't wait to add Leah Remini to the cast.
To add a different wife played by Leah Remini.
So
that's how she escaped Scientology, by the way. Like Kevin James just like pulled her out of
Sorry, I need her for yeah.
Can we get that girl that played Stacey Carosi? Let's get her. Oh, I'm sorry, Kevin. She's trapped in Scientology. Let's get her anyway.
Yeah. So instead of saying, oh, well, she's off doing this, or like...
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's a conference she's at.
Yeah. I mean, you also could have...
She's...
Instead of writing a big part for her...
She's opening a store somewhere.
Instead of making a big part for her... So you could have made all this happen. Like, instead of doing a big part, just make something happen where she's like, okay, well, she's pregnant, she can't travel.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then those two can still go off.
Right.
But instead, they open saying, after he got married, 6 days after he got married, she served him with divorce papers.
Right.
Because of uncontrollable vomiting.
Yes, which
after being with him.
Terrible to begin with. Which A, thought this was a comedy, not really that funny.
No.
And B, that's the dumbest thing.
Yeah.
That's how you write her off?
Yeah, right?
Please.
Yeah, it's just, again, a bunch of fat jokes that they...
Just get Leah Remini.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And not only that, so his mother...
Shirley Knight.
Yeah, Shirley Knight.
Who just recently passed away last year.
Did she?
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She, although her soul left her body in 2015.
Yes.
After
she got hit by a milk truck.
No, I just, from making this movie.
Oh, yeah.
So Shirley Knight, she goes out to get the paper and gets hit by a milk truck. They just kill his mom, too.
But here's the thing. I don't understand this. Paul isn't a terrible character, right?
Right.
There's nothing really mean about Paul.
Yeah.
He's a little overzealous. He's a little protective, like overprotective of his daughter. But really, there's nothing bad about him, right?
Right.
There's nothing like we're cheering or not cheering for Paul.
Yeah.
Like, but we're not expecting like shit to happen to him.
Right.
Like terrible things.
Yeah.
Like that's dumb.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, okay.
Especially because
she's too old and she can't,
Yeah.
she can't go to Vegas.
Again, yeah, she, you can do things to not have them
Yeah.
go. I mean, that's fine. I don't see the
don't
need
kill
for the
people off.
cruelty of the in this. I guess to hype up his loneliness, but like
even that
even though we
doesn't
don't
even,
focus on it.
But even with the villain at the end, it doesn't really manifest
But it like
into character development
No.
for Paul.
no, you don't get a sense of like in the first movie, I got a sense of the loneliness and kind of the sadness aspect of it because of they did it right. They told it
Yeah.
through the story, which was he was raising Maya because his wife had died.
Right.
And so that's why he was raising her.
Right.
And so he already has a
Realistic.
sad backstory.
Yeah.
So why do you need to do these other things to him?
That's what I mean.
Yeah, it just was too much for me. Like, it actually started this movie off leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Like, right
Me
at the
too.
beginning.
Like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Lee, and it's also like Paul's not. He's pathetic in a way that not is pathetic. It's like he doesn't mean to be
Yeah.
like pathetic, but he is.
Yeah.
So it's like, why you're just shitting on him more? And I don't think that's fair.
Yeah,
And I don't think that's funny.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's very creative.
No.
I think it's just hurtful.
And I think that's a lot of why, like, so, like, this movie has missteps for me. Like, the first one, he was pathetic like that. And they kind of, like, the bad guys and some of the other people there make fun of him and treat him poorly.
Right.
But you don't get the sense that, like...
But his love for Jamin Maze's character softens him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but that's also what I'm saying, though, is, like, it felt like they took the humor from the first one and, like, ramped it up, but it just, like, it just bled
Yeah.
over everything else.
Yeah.
Like, I probably would have found more humor in this if it wasn't just for how much they had beat him up with some of that. But even in the first movie, like, people then see his worth with stuff.
Right. That's what I mean. Like, I'm not really seeing any worth of him. And I'm not seeing, like, for instance, I don't find him, like, it's weird how confident he lacks. He lacks confidence, right?
Yeah.
But when he tries to, like, show the confidence,
Yeah.
it never manifests itself in a way that either helps the humor go along or even the plot.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like, it's hard to describe.
Yeah.
Like, it's just very much just kind of stale.
Yeah. Yeah, it just didn't have the
Right,
same...
the character.
Yeah. This whole thing just felt like it was a misstep. They amped up the wrong stuff. It was like
Right.
It's like there is a little bit of humor and a little bit of cruelty to the character
But
before.
we went backwards with the
Yeah,
character.
we did.
Instead of going forwards.
Yeah.
I actually think this could have been an opportunity to say, guess what you liked about the first movie? We ain't doing any of that.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to make him, like, kind of be this dorky MacGyver diehard kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where he takes stuff out of the ordinary and goes, because there's moments in this movie where he's like, you're not a real security guard. Those buttons are like
Yes.
this. But if I saw more of that,
Exactly.
I would have been like, boom, this guy is an idiot savant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I would have liked it a lot more. The bumblingness would have played a little bit better.
Exactly.
In the
Exactly.
vein of like Mr. Bean and the Johnny English
Yeah.
kind of thing where he's suave but kind of dorky.
Yes.
In the same moment. So it's like John, McClane, but who trips over his feet because he has to walk
Completely
without
agree.
any. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, completely agree. And
Like,
I think
it's
that's
just
what...
like, why not go that route? Where
think-
he's like advances skills a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But he's still bumbling.
Right. I think that, like, so I'm watching this and I'm thinking to myself, you know what would make this play better? You know, we talk about in movies where we're like look, I would have liked that, but you took yourself too seriously. If you'd have played around with it a little bit and not like tried to be like, we will be this great action movie, and you're like, oh my god, if you would have made it a little more tongue-in-cheek, it'd have been fine. This movie,
Other way around.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's tongue in something, but it ain't tongue in cheek.
Nope, it's tongue in something.
It's
A bird.
tongue in light socket.
Yeah,
It's
something.
like you didn't need to. You should have taken it a little more seriously.
You should have.
Because I'm with you. Like, the character of Paul Blart in himself, like, I like it because he reminds me of John McClane, of more of like
The realistic.
your average Joe John
Yes.
McClane, where he's like, he's a mall cop and he fails at stuff and he's
Right.
had these rough things and like he hurts, he's got hypoglycemia, he's like, he's this average dude, but that he still is doing these John McClane type things. To me, that's where some of the humor is.
Yeah, but
And it
let's
played
put a
better in
fanny
the first
pack
one.
on him and have him like argue with his daughter
Yeah.
for 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then we don't get any of the action until the last half, and it's almost too late.
Yes.
Like, can we talk about the villain for a second?
Yeah.
Which he's played by the guy from the Arrowverse,
McDonough
Yeah.
was his name.
who's great in the Arrowverse.
Yeah, Neil McDonough.
Yes. What's his bucket from Green Arrow?
Yeah.
He's better in
Damien Dark.
Damien Dark. Yeah, he's better in Legends of Tomorrow as Damien Dark.
Yeah.
But we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Where he has kind of that sly sense of humor. You misused him correctly. He always plays like the scumbag or the bad guy, but we're not really like his. When we finally get to him,
Yeah.
it's like what's the point?
Yeah.
We needed him to come into it like really soon, like before,
Yes.
45 minutes into the movie.
He doesn't even meet up or talk to him till halfway through, till the 50% mark.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Like by far. That character should have been like, we should have been already at, like, this should have been like a montage
Yeah.
of, hey, I got UCLA. Hey, I got this big opportunity to go to Vegas.
Yeah.
All that should have been like during the credits, and we should have been in Vegas already.
Yes.
Just a lot of this movie was very slow
Yeah.
in its execution.
But
and its
they were
plot.
just-
we should have gone fast.
Right, but
Comedy
they
should be
focused
fast.
on Kevin James doing more like not just slapstick, but like I don't know what you would call something that's slappier than slapstick.
Slappy stick.
Slopstick.
Slopstick? Yes. It was slopstick.
Yeah, it was sloppy
Yes.
slapstick. It was
Yes.
slopstick.
It was slopstick. It really was. There was that scene where he slides, and in the first one he doesn't slide far enough, and this one he slides too far,
Yeah.
and so he scoots himself back.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, great, we've seen that already. Can we
But
just do
it
other
could have
things,
been
or can we
funny
do?
if the rest of it was not already so over the top.
Right.
By the time we got to that, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like, it's something that should have made me laugh. Would have been that it just was lost on me.
yes,
by that point.
it's either take it more serious or don't, or go more obscure, right?
Right.
Like, those are your two choices, I think, for this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this movie could have either been like so ridiculous that it's so bad it's fun,
Yeah.
which it doesn't land at, or it's more serious in tone, but the bumbling kind of,
Yeah.
diehardness of it. Either way, it's just a missed opportunity in this.
So let me ask you this, because we've also said like there's a lot of missteps with the humor in this, I think. But was there anything with the humor that did land well with you?
Not much. It's just, it's like even when you take a little too much time with humor,
Yeah.
that's when it should be discomfort humor,
Yeah.
right? Like The Office or like stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where you're like, oh, we're in a comfortable situation and we can't get out of it. That's not even this movie. Like, we don't even have, like, we kind of do, but we don't. It's more that he's bumbling.
Yes.
There is that moment in the elevator that I laughed where it's the
Mini kiss.
the mini kiss where they're shorter people.
Yeah.
You would say, and they're dressed as
they're
Kiss.
little people who do Kiss reenactment.
Right. And he says, "Do you guys play Beth?" "No, we don't play Beth," which is really funny for Kiss fans because they're like, "Oh, are they gonna play Beth?" Because Beth is their hit, but Beth isn't the rock out Kiss that we know. And then he leaves and he's like, "I told you we should have played Beth."
Yeah.
And for some reason I thought that was funny.
Not now, Jerry.
Because it's obscure comedy.
Yes.
Right? It was almost like I wanted more of that if you're going to go down that route.
And it was uncomfortable because they were just kind of silent, having this awkward conversation.
And the beats worked.
Yeah, and at no point, like, I liked it because at no point did they bring up that it's mini Kiss or anything like that. He just talking to him like a Kiss cover band.
A Kiss cover band, right?
Yeah,
we didn't point out that.
But that was great. Like, Kevin James does really good with that kind of, like, awkward humor and the pacing. And so, like, that whole transaction for me worked.
Right.
But I wanted so much more of that. And I'll tell you, like, one thing I saw that I really, like, I felt like I was almost there enjoying it. And I laughed at parts of it where he is in this garden courtyard trying to calm down before he's giving this speech. He goes out there. It's very nice. He, like, kind of says a couple things to this pianist who's, just playing ambiance kind of music. And a crane comes out. And he's just like, "Oh, hey," and it's a standard thing with the bird acts unruly. I feel every time I go to the zoo, the ostriches try to kill me. And so, like, I feel for this. Like, I know what it's like to have some big ass bird who wants to murder you.
Right.
And so the crane is getting, like, up in his face and he's like, "Oh my God." Although I think, like, I was just like, okay, just play this cool. Don't be too over the top. Mm-hmm. And, of course, then he's like, like, jumping and, like, kicking around. And they have to, like, animate the bird because it's like, oh, my God.
It's a puppet.
Yeah, well, it's part of it's CGI and then part of it's a puppet where it's fighting him.
It's a bad puppet.
Like, okay, that should have been shorter. Or it should have been more subtle. Like, it should have been where he's, like, walking away from it. It's just following him or something like that. Like, ramp it up. Don't just go from 0 to 60. Like, slowly build the humor with it. And if you want to fight it for, like, a minute or have it attack you, fine. But, like, build up to that. And whatever. Because you're also missing the humor as, like, he's getting attacked and the piano player is just still playing and not helping him. And just smiling like a goon. Like, I thought that it could have been such a perfect moment in there of awkward, uncomfortable humor.
Well, that's what I mean. This could have been like, oh, hey, I would have liked Paul Blart Mall Cop 2 to be an obscure comedy. Wouldn't that have been, like, weird? Like, even if it was weird and it took some swings, I would have applauded it for taking swings.
Yes.
For having that weird comedy. To say, you know what, we're going to up the comedy and make it even kind of, like, weird in a way. And have, like, things happen. But it doesn't, right? And I think they missed the opportunity on that. And I agree with you on the bird.
Yeah.
The piano guy made me laugh because he was just, like, smiling the whole time.
like he's just oblivious to all of it.
Sure.
Or he's seen that bird take out way too many people, Yeah. I feel like they really miss, like, and this is not the only incident of that. There's tons of incidents where it's like, whoop, I can see where, like, the humor, it was forming, it was trying to get there, and then we just whether it was Kevin James kept amping it up take after take, or was directed to do it, or whatever, like, you can see where a scene started to form and then it got away. Over and over.
Yes.
And that's what, like, it kind of breaks my heart with this movie a little bit too. Like, I mean, this is not a movie I was looking forward to seeing or whatever, honestly, but I think there were missteps. And I think that the Paul Blart it could have been a good franchise too. Because I go back to the John McClane thing, right? Like,
oh, what I said?
I would have liked for this to be like when people go, "What's a good action movie?"
Yeah,
even though it's a comedy, or
and
what's a good action
Paul
comedy?
Blart Mall Cop 2.
Paul Blart, that guy's badass. I would have liked You could have had him be like, who's a guy who...
But instead we're like, let's stereotype like bigger people
Yes.
into being bumbling idiot. Like it could have been like this inclusiveness of like all of a sudden you have a bigger person who's an action hero.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
could have represented that.
Yeah.
But instead you're like, but I know I'm asking a lot from a movie called Paul Blart.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you could have like totally like screwed with people and said, boom, this is just like the first movie. And they totally switched it on them.
Yes.
And people would be like, yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
And they would have been like, wait, is the first one like that? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Because it's been like 6 years. There's also no fan service. If there are fans of this movie, which I'm sure there are of the first movie, there's no fan service from the first movie to this movie. Right? I mean, except for like the slapstickiness, there's no like, because it's set in a different, it's not a set really in the mall.
Yeah.
It's set in Vegas. There's no like mall aspects that, you know, mall rat.
Well, and
people.
we never leave the win, really.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
It's mostly shot in there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much one big infomercial for that property.
Yeah. And they
for a tax write-off.
Yeah. And they I have a little bit of difficulty with it doesn't have a lot of fan service. Honestly, I don't think there's that much from the first one. It's really all that memorable. Like the slide and the Segway thing.
But think about it, I don't remember Paul Blart really the first movie until we watched the trailer for both these movies before we watched the movie. I went, oh yeah, that's Paul Blart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But the first movie was such a culture hit though, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Like everyone was talking about how this, this movie was, this family movie kind of was fun to go take your family to.
Yeah.
And, have a laugh.
Yes.
And why this movie is kind of family oriented or the humor is juvenile in a way, I just don't think that's fair on kids to just be all like, here you go. This is acceptable for you.
Yeah.
When there's multiple choices out there, for family movies that actually, there's not even like really that much of a lesson that really gets learned. It's just like, you're going to go to ULC. I can't talk. UCLA.
Yeah.
See? This movie shook me to the core. It made me switch up everything. All right.
Yeah, I just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so.
There's not a lot to say.
This movie just it. As much as I wasn't really looking forward to seeing this or like, going nuts with anything, but like at the same time, like I did hope for better than what this did.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should we do our 5 questions?
Yeah, we can go ahead.
I think we're,
We said what we need to say.
There's just so much you can wax poetic about Paul Blart, Mall Cop 2.
Also, Rainey Rodriguez.
Right. His daughter.
Who is his daughter.
Yeah.
Who we realized part of the way through watching it is the older sister of
Manny.
Rico Rodriguez,
Yeah.
who played Manny on Modern Family.
I think you said it best when you said, oh, she's the Spencer Breslin.
She's the Spencer Breslin
of
of
the
family.
Rodriguezes.
Yeah. But when you look at her, you can see the family resemblance.
Right.
It didn't strike me until we read that. And I'm like, oh shit.
Her acting is what it is. It's not the best. She has a good voice.
Oh,
so she does a lot of like voice over work right now. I honestly don't think the kid from Modern Family is really that much talent. People are like, oh, he's talented. I'm like, yeah, when he was younger, but I just think now that he's grown up, I think the shtick.
Yeah.
Like, I even think her shtick is kind of like...
He needs a different role.
Right.
Like, he needs... Honestly, I don't think they're bad acting kids.
I think they're just set.
I think he needs another role so he's not typecast as Manny. And I think like with her, she needs to get a little bit different experience because she was on a show, something what was it? Something in Alley.
Kate? Was it Kate?
No, Austin and Alley.
Was it Kate and Allie?
No, it wasn't Kate and Allie. Austin
She
and
had a
Allie on the
reboot of
Disney
Kate and
show.
Allie?
So
She's
she was
in a
on the
reboot of
Disney
Kate and
Channel, Austin and Allie.
Not Kate and Allie?
Yeah, it was Kate and Allie.
Well, they're doing a reboot. I don't know.
Oh, whatever. It was Austin and Allie, some sort of Disney, where they were musicians or whatever. But she was a regular character on there.
Okay.
So, it's kind of that she's learned to act over the top Disney Channel style. And so,
Right.
I'm sure with some time and getting away from that, like, we'll probably see maybe some better stuff from her. I hope we do. Mm-hmm. But it just might take some time. But it might be the difference between she did Disney like Spencer Breslin.
Yeah.
Abigail Breslin, did other stuff. And
You know who I like? Jane Curtin.
Jane Curtin?
Yeah,
from
she was in Kate and Allie. Yeah. What? Mm-hmm. All right, 5 questions.
5 questions. What's your favorite part of Kate and Allie?
My favorite part of Kate and Allie would be Allie.
What? Kate. Team Kate.
Team Allie.
Allie with Jane Curtin, right?
Yeah, who was the other one?
I don't know.
Okay, whatever.
Kate and Allie.
Are you really doing Kate and Allie?
Yeah, I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay, right. Kate and Allie.
Kate and Allie. There you go. I almost spelled it wrong.
I thought it was Susan St. James.
Is it?
Yeah.
It is Susan St. James.
Thank you. Booyah. I know my Kate and Allie. That's right.
So, yeah, Team Allie.
Yeah, yes, because Jane Curtin was Allie.
Yeah.
She was Kate. Were they kind of like the Odd Couple?
Kind of.
In a way?
Team Chip.
Team Chip, whatever.
Anywho, you don't like
I don't wax poetic.
You don't like Frederick Kohler?
I think we need to review all 122 episodes of Kate and Allie.
Perfect. Let's do it. It's our new show.
Well, actually, Mirage could. We could have her.
Yeah.
And she could be our Alley cat. Kate and Alley cat.
What do you think is the best part of this movie?
What's the best part of that last joke? Nothing.
Might segue out of it.
Speaking
of segues.
This is it's hard. This is not a great movie. At all. And we talked about really kind of like its strengths, what it does have. But I'm going to tell you what I think the best part of this movie is. The brightness of it, of the casino, and it's bright.
The visual appeal.
The visual brightness of the
I'll give you
movie.
that.
It's not like for the doom and gloom aspect at the beginning. It's bright.
Yeah.
And you can look at it when you're listening to bad jokes or bad. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
And for the most part, I think it's very well shot.
Yes, it's kind of well shot, which is terrible that it just didn't turn out that well.
Yeah.
Same director of the one musical, the Pot musical. What's that?
Oh, Reefer Madness?
Reefer Madness. Same director.
Andy Fickman?
Yeah.
Huh.
He directed Reefer Madness.
Oh, and Race to Witch Mountain.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a fine director.
And he was executive producer
of Kate and Allie?
of Kevin Can Wait.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. He's probably most of these people are Kevin James players. Like even his wife is in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
one of the bad guys.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler's wife is in it too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she's the lady at the bar who gets hit on by
the
that
drunk
is Adam security
Sandler's
guard.
wife. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
her.
Yeah. I forgot that's what she looks like.
But so I mean, I thought it was filmed very well. I think you're right about that.
Yeah.
In the first Paul Blart movie, like the
I'm
main
not done
shots.
answering my question, but go ahead.
What did you say?
Well, I wasn't done talking.
Oh,
about
go
that.
ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm done now.
Are you really? Or did I?
Well, I think not only was it shot very well, but the chemistry between Susan St. James and Jane Curtin and Kate and Allie
God.
was just so great that it lasted for 122 episodes. I mean,
122
six
glorious
seasons,
episodes.
6 seasons of that glorious sitcom. Kate
And the movie?
No, go ahead. What's your favorite part of Paul Blart?
I was gonna say to your point, like in the first Paul Blart, like you get the mall interiors, which is fine and all, and like some good shots there. But when they got into like shops, it felt like they were just like cheap sets. I don't know if cheap,
Yeah,
but like you got the
agreed.
sense they were not in the same actual building.
Yeah, like a studio.
Yeah, they didn't feel like they were the same. Like sometimes I got real disconnect from that. But in this one, like it always feels like you feel
you're
like
at
it's
the
the
casino.
hotel. Yeah,
Yeah.
it looks very good. Like kudos for the way they shot that here.
Yeah.
I
And
think
the fact that Wynn himself was a art collector,
yes,
and that's the main plot
Yeah.
that they're trying to steal. The art is kind of fun in that meta aspect,
Yeah.
but is not something that works very well.
yes,
But it's shot fun,
yeah,
so
yeah. I think for me the best part of this movie, it's really like it's those moments where they're not over the top.
and there's not a lot.
And there's
of
not a
those.
lot of those. But when they happen, they make me laugh. Like the kiss thing, or like right before he starts actually getting in the fight with the bird. Like,
Because those are simple.
yeah, because they're simple things. And if they kept it simple, there would be so much more of this I would like. But those simple moments, there's not a ton of them. There's not enough of them, unfortunately. But when they're there, I very much enjoy those simple moments. And like, I wish there was more. But the ones that were there, I did enjoy, and they did make me smile. It's not like, some movies where I've sat through stone faced through the whole thing.
Yeah,
So,
I agreed.
do you think this movie stands on its own?
I mean, no. They continue to talk about the Black Friday thing.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the first movie, you're kind of a loss for that.
Yeah.
So I don't think it necessarily stands on its own. Because that's why he's there for the convention.
Yeah.
Having said that, setting it in, I guess, a different area helps.
Yeah.
But it also hurts the aspect of, like, moving this movie forward.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think so.
Okay.
You? What do you think?
I think it does.
See, I don't think it does.
And see, I think it does because, again, we have the expository stuff at the beginning. I think it tells you enough about the Black Friday thing. They specifically call it out and say what happened.
Yes, but because of the fact that, like, all the bad shit that happens to him, it's like you're just cutting that and saying, we don't even care about that. And I don't even think that's fair, so I say it doesn't.
I think it does.
And I think it doesn't.
I know, and you're allowed to think that. Let me finish my thought.
Okay, go ahead.
So
I'll sit here and watch
they have the
pilot to Kate and Allie while you do that.
Okay. So they talk about the incident, and they make reference to it. I think it's one of those movies where it does stand on its own, but I think that it would be better. Mm-hmm. It's one of those where it's like, it's okay not knowing, but it's better if you have seen the first one. So it's like it stands on its own, but not as strongly as it would,
Okay.
if you had seen it.
Okay.
One of those.
I'll give you that in your argument.
Okay,
will.
thank you. I appreciate
But
that.
let me ask you a little bit something, okay?
Yeah, Jane Curtin.
Do you think Susan St. James always did shows with ampersands in them? Because you had Macmillan and wife,
Yeah.
Kate and Allie.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, question 3.
Good question 3. Does this make you want to watch the first one?
Absolutely not. But it does make me want to watch either Macmillan and wife or Kate and Allie.
Yeah. It actually does not make me want to watch.
Macmillan and wife?
No, nothing makes me want to watch Macmillan and Wife.
Not even Rock Hudson.
No. Yeah, I think that it really doesn't make me want to watch the first one, mainly just because, nothing makes me, I think it's, when we see some of these movies, they make you almost like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like nostalgic for the first one a little bit. Like you see a movie and you're like, God, I love that first one too.
No.
This doesn't make me want to go back and watch
No.
that. And I'm trying to think of like, we've had plenty of sequels where I'm like, wow, that is so much worse than the first one. Like the first one is fun and this is just like way off the rails. I know there are examples of them out there, but I just can't think of them off the top of my head. The whole time we were watching, I was trying to think of it. But, yeah, it just is like, it derailed what was there. I don't even know. It just there's such a this is just such a big misstep.
Agreed.
Would you reboot, continue, or cancel?
Oh, cancel. Although there was this moment where they were kind of where he had his little team
Yes.
of people where I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
we could have like a Paul Blart Mall Cop kind of team where they're, going around helping people become, security guards or whatever, or like, Paul Blart Mall Cop Academy
Yeah.
or something.
Or what if he started like a team of mall cops who were more like soldiers of fortune? They could call them the B team for Blart.
Or what if we move to the next question?
So, just in case you're wondering,
I wasn't.
oh, I think they should cancel this too.
Oh, yeah.
Part of me wants to continue it because, like, part of me is like,
No.
I think about. Part of me does, and because what? Let me answer.
No.
Part of me does because I think of like Die Hard 2, Die Hard
okay.
3,
Yeah.
and like I love Die Hard 3, and part of me is like maybe if they could get these flaws under control, maybe the third one would be enjoyable again. Like I think there's enough potential to like. I want to give it a little bit of a chance, but I know that they're going to squander it. So, like, I don't even
squander
want to...
every moment of it. Like, if they didn't fix the second one and that this was such a dud, the third one's not going to...
No, they're not going to course correct.
No.
But I could have hope that they would have.
And not that... The plot just isn't even there to move on to a third movie.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't build enough of a mythology
No.
in anything. You could have, like we
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
And I agree, and I'm sorry, I was cutting you off. I just was having a little fun. But I agree with you on the aspect of, like, let's say this was that Die Hard kind of thing. Then I could have seen you, like, going forward and doing a third movie.
Yeah.
And having this weird kind of trilogy of movies that where it just kind of ups... and does something different every time. So.
Yeah. Sum up your experience in 2 words.
Oh, craps.
Oh, craps? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because it was set in Vegas.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
And my jokes aren't going to be as funny. Like, look, this movie doesn't deserve my good jokes. Mainly because I can't think of any. Right now. Because I keep thinking of Kate and Allie. And how I remember watching this episode of Kate and Allie.
Yeah.
Where I think it was Allie's son kept dumping stuff down the toilet and it pissed off Kate so much because it would clog the toilet.
Yeah.
It was like the first time I really heard a toilet on television.
Really?
Yeah, and I'd be like, oh, okay. And he kept doing that. And I thought maybe I should throw stuff down my toilet, but I knew I'd get in trouble.
Yeah.
That's why I say, oh, craps.
Okay, thank you. Good to know.
Go ahead. What's your 2 words?
Mall flop.
Mall flop. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yours was actually more clever than mine. Once again.
I could retroactively give you Paul Fart.
Paul Fart. Damn it.
Paul Fart, Mall flop.
Paul Fart. Right?
Yes.
Yes, Paul Fart.
That's perfect.
And yours would be Mall Flop. Okay. So we're just calling this Paul Fart Mall Flop. Can't even say it wrong.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
This will be on Twitter.
Go ahead. Why?
Because it was like you took the things that did make the first one enjoyable and you basically kind of didn't get them stood up. You didn't get them.
No.
You relied too heavily on the slapstick or the slopstick piece of it and not the, more of the kind of way it was delivered or anything like that. Like there was just so much it was missing. And I thought that a lot of the humor in it was more cruel than, needed to be. I don't know. There's a lot that went wrong with this. The story was not fleshed out the way it should have been. The humor was off. You know, there was just so much that was missing, and it had potential. I do think that, I will say, like, regardless of how I feel about it, I will say that this movie I thought had more potential, and it just didn't live up to it.
I agree.
Mall flop.
Well, I think that concludes this movie.
Yeah.
So this would be Paul Fart, Mall Flop 2, Deuce. All that makes total sense. Where can people find us, Jeremy?
People can find us at thedeucepodcast.podbean.com, Google Play, Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, a lot of those podcatchers. You can find us on Facebook at The Deuce. You can find us on Twitter at Deuce Podcast. Or you can also find us on the No Phony Podcast Network website, nophonynetwork.com. Our broadcasts are up there, as well as many others, including sketch comedy, sports podcasts. You have pop culture podcasts. You have like audio dramas. You have reading podcasts. A little bit of stuff for everybody. So make sure you get out there and listen to that as well. Listen to them as well.
That's true. That is very true. So that concludes this episode. Tune in next week for April is the Cruelest month. We'll be doing Escape Plan 2. Stallone called this movie the most horrible produced film that I ever had the misfortune to be in. So look forward to that one. That guy directed Staying Alive. All right. Remember, wear a mask, social distance, get the vaccine. And remember, the sequel is king.
Hello world, here I am standing over this little old town called America. On precious stone, dangling off heaven's shoulder, wide-eyed, and it's time to go down. 2, 1. I'm gonna fly on my own 2 feet from a cool mile high. I can see every dream waiting my whole life. I take a deep breath, now open the gates. I was born to feel this screaming wind against my face. Oh, I'm a vengeance, I am not afraid. Filled with fire and spilling grace. Falling out of a rocket blue risen sky. I'm gonna fly. Watch me fly. Yeah.